Phil, SCGCon Houston has happened, and the first North American crossroads after Vegas, the first of this season, has occurred, and Smoke Druid is the ultimate winner here. Let's talk about the top 8, and then we can talk about each of the decks real fast as well. I'm going to share my screen.
You should talk about where players can go see these results.
Yeah. Well, so the place that I have found the results, because there isn't a podcast like us yet that like does these kind of breakdowns or like really goes into the deep dive. There's also not like there is a mothership, there is a sorcery.com that shares news and stuff, but there's nothing that like really gives a good like synopsis of anything yet. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I was able to find this under the SCGCon Houston tab on the Sorcery Discord. Thank you to Golden Eagle for posting this. I'm gonna bring up the screen now, and we will talk about the decks. Okay, so this is not the deck I want to talk about. Let's move this over to here. All right, Phil. The first deck that we're going to look at here is called Smoke and Ash. It is a Druid deck.
So what is the difference between... So Smoke is...
Air and fire.
Fire and air? That's just...
Yeah.
These are the colloquial terms for these.
Yeah,
things,
these
right?
are not official names. So fire and air, you're looking at... fire and air, you have some of your best spells in the game under fire and air for pushing damage. Also for control and for drawing cards, right? So you've got Black Plague, Great Famine, Ring of Morgan, Toshhammer Trinket. Here's a new one, Grim Grisarm. The bearer, it's an axe where the bearer takes double damage and deals double strike damage. So
yeah,
you can push in a lot of damage that way. Drums of Doom, damage dealt to a minion nearby is lethal. So this is good with the Ring of Morgan. It gives you a lot of control, because then every time you cast a spell, you basically can kill a guy. Then we've got Highland Princess, Violent, Colicky Dragonettes, Morgan Le Fay, Quarrelsome Kobolds. We got Quarrelsome Kobolds. We have one water spell with Sir Agravine. Monstrous Lion.
And is the one water, is the splashing water threshold here just because Agravine is so good?
I honestly don't think he's that good, but maybe he's good in this particular deck. Being able to get those extra strikes in without losing stealth is something. But I think this card is a totally defensible choice, but at the risk of your mana base, I just don't know. And they've got Color Out of Space, they've got Oases and Joyous Guard, so maybe they can support it. It doesn't have to come down on curve. In fact, this card is actually not good on curve, in my opinion. You want to have other things out that are doing like big enough damage to also strike in. But then you've got Monstrous Lion, you've got the Saracen Raiders, Sir Lorimark. This is a Lamorak. Sir Lamorak. This is a new one we haven't seen. A 4/3 for 4. That's Death Ray to strike each nearby enemy. So a King's Move. It strikes everything there for 4. That's pretty interesting. Ashland Phoenix, Curtis and Thias, Vampire. Hounds is another new one. This has all the keywords, Phil. Airborne, Burrowing, Submerge, Voidwalk, and nearby enemies permanently lose stealth because they're hounds. Grandmaster Wizard, of course, Infernal Legion, and Ignis Rex, one of the dragons. So it's a card we haven't actually seen from the Edward Beard Jr. Dragon Lord set. And then we've got Whirling Blades.
What does Rex do?
Ignis Rex is an airborne dragon for 7 mana and 3 red threshold with 6 power. Airborne, immune to fire damage, and once on your turn, you can discard a fire card to deal damage to units at target adjacent location. 3 damage to every unit at target adjacent location.
Adjacent is like, it can't, that doesn't mean adjacent has to be in the crosshairs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the 4 squares wherever this is, not on the unit. Adjacent is not the unit you're on.
Correct. Yeah, but you could just move the Ignis Rex and do that, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not sure. I think actually adjacent does count as what you're on as well. Somebody in the help us out here. I'm pretty sure that for this game, adjacent actually also will allow you to put it on the space that it's on.
Like essentially, like what the question is adjacent of does
Is it
adjacent
exclusionary or
highlight
not?
4 squares or does it highlight 5 squares?
Yeah. So this one's interesting because it's airborne, so you're going to be able to move it pretty far, and then on top of that, it's got a little bit of extra reach as well. All right,
and immune to fire damage. A lot of what you've shown me so far in this game, a lot of the ways that people remove creatures involve fire spells.
Correct. Yep. All right. Then we've got 2 disenchants, 2 disintegrates to get rid of all of the artifacts that you could possibly want to get rid of. Feast for Crows, Grapple Shot, a classic control card here to move guys around the board and to destroy things. Minor Explosion, which is basically just what Ignis Rec does. Infiltrate, Pact with the Devil, Lava Flow, Whirling Blades. I don't want to go too far into the mana base here. The mana base here is mostly just supporting the colors that it's playing. There's not a lot to speak on here, but Phil, it's a more mid-range Druid deck basically, and that's what won. So that's interesting that like the metagame seems to be shifting again.
Yeah, is this an example of Aggro Druid won the last time, and so now bigger Druid wins this time?
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, I think, we're still in the early stages of this card game where going over the top of your aggro opponent, if you can like mid-range beats aggro, right? Like the way it used to work back when there weren't combo decks, it was mid-range beats aggro beats control beats mid-range, right? So this is the I don't know what the final, I guess we can find out what the finals were real fast. Let me see. The finals were Avatar of Air, which I honestly don't understand Avatar of Air well enough to truly speak on. But let me look at this this list real fast here. There we go. Avatar of Air. Yeah, I mean, this looks Yeah, good call. Avatar of Air obviously has the player draw a site. And then once on your turn, if you occupy an air site, you may fly a unit atop to a nearby site. So any unit, just extra movement, basically.
Fly a unit atop to a nearby site. Okay, so it just lets you essentially, like, you're on an air site, and then it just gives every single unit on an air site the ability to move an additional time.
You can use that ability once per turn, though. You can't do it for every unit.
I see. Okay, but yeah, it just gives you.
You get one additional move with one of your minions that's on an air site, or
something's getting movement +1. Yeah,
I guess you could move the Avatar of Air too, so that allowing you to move your avatar and still be able to place sites, tap it to place sites and move it is not nothing. Probably what people use this for. I have not, because I got into the game in beta. This is an alpha avatar. There are 4 alpha avatars that I've just never really seen played, and this is one of them.
This one being it's mono white. Yeah, it's mono air.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as being like blue white. Like air is like draw cards and play like control-y type things. It's almost like the mirror too in Magic, because you get some flying creatures, but you also get like Voidwalk minions. You get some haste guys, a lot of airborne, vampires, that sort of thing. But this just looks like, again, like a very mid-range deck that's probably pretty okay against rolling. What's that?
Ranged.
Sling
Pixies has airborne and ranged.
It means that it can ranged. I believe it means that it can shoot one space up. Let me double check on ranged real fast. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that I get that correct. Ranged. This unit has the tap ability: tap, strike target enemy unit within range of up to 1 step and in a cardinal direction. So adjacent. This unit may also.
Cardinal only means horizontal, or does cardinal?
Cardinal always means up, down, left, right. That is all cardinal ever has meant.
Okay, so cardinal is adjacent.
Adjacent, yeah. This unit may also intercept airborne units flying over them. So they can also, if something is airborne, it can like shoot it. This is also airborne, so I have to believe that airborne minions can attack airborne minions. I'm pretty sure that is how that works.
So wait, so repeat ranged. Range means that they can what?
Range basically means it can shoot a strike target enemy at a range of up to 1 step away in a cardinal direction.
Okay, so if it's on a unit, it doesn't need to be on the same unit to strike another. It can strike from.
It's not attacking; it's striking. That's different. It's not getting struck back either.
Oh, because it says it strikes.
Yeah, strike is different than attack.
Got it.
So there will not be a retaliatory strike back. But this looks like airborne creatures, and like aggro if you're a deck that is mid range, but probably more mid range than an aggro deck, I would say. So that's what came in second versus the finalist, which was this air druid deck. Sorry, what the hell do you want to call this? The smoke druid deck. All right. So then from there, let's look at and see. So we've got those two. Then there was another Avatar of Earth deck, which isn't listed yet. We didn't get a deck list for that. Avatar of ForceofPhil is an interesting avatar because it gets +1 for each other Earthsite that's attached in power. So you get a pretty big avatar, especially if your opponent is also not playing water.
What does attached mean?
Like anything that is adjacent to another Earthsite.
Adjacent, not a king's move.
Not a king's move. Anything that you like that is attached directly next to, or above or below.
Yeah, and does that include the site that it would be on? So, like, let's say you were on an Earth.
Yeah,
you're on Earth, and then there's an Earth on each cardinal direction, so you'd get +5.
So in water, they call that a body of water, right? Any pieces of water that are attached to each other is considered your body of water. So they might have eroded it to be called body of land or something like that. But basically, it gets +1 for every Earthsite that it's attached to. So you can get an Avatar of Earth that's like an 8 or 9 power just for the nature of your opponent playing their own sites, right? So that's kind of what the Avatar of Earth is very aggressive, like a very aggressive mid-range deck. But I don't have a list for that one, so I'm not going to talk too heavily on that one. So the next up is a classic Steam Druid. That is classic Steam Druid. I don't think we're seeing anything crazy in this list. This looks just like a Steam Druid list. Drums of Doom is like a sort of a new innovation that a lot of people have been going into, just to get a little bit of extra oomph out of the Ring of Morgan. I think previously when we showed a Steam Druid list, it was not playing Ring of Morgan. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Another card that's new in this list is Mesmerism. Gain control of target nearby minion. A very hefty threshold cost, but you're a 2-color deck. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, and this is also the type of card, as somebody who's played many a control magic before, your control magics don't need to come down early. Like, the board has to develop for a Mesmerism to even do anything, so it makes sense to me that, like, having a steep threshold card in your deck is not really too much of a concern, because even though that costs 4 mana, it's probably not happening until you have 8, 9, 10 mana.
Yeah. Then we have a Death Speaker. We've got a Death Speaker deck.
Yeah, you taught me about this guy.
Death Speaker. So Death Speaker, this is the classic Death Speaker, it looks like. You're rocking Nimbus Djinn combo.
Zach, tell me why in all of the other decks, in all of those Druid decks and the Air deck, we didn't see any Cores or Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, good question. So in those mid-range decks, you're not trying to race out a bunch of stuff, and you don't need a critical mass of mana to make the deck work. You really just want better draws, right? So in this game, and just like in old school Magic, right, where you don't really need to have Moxen to like win the game, the power level of this game is low enough that there is a cost to drawing a Mox, a core later in the game, right? You'd rather just have good draws for the most part.
What's the Shrine of the Dragon Lord?
Great question. Shrine of the Dragon Lord it produces. So it teleports all dragons to that site when it enters the battlefield, right? But it's basically a 2-mana core that gives you one mana and one of each threshold.
So it's really powerful.
Well, it can be both good and bad. If your opponent is playing dragons and you throw this down, you're going to get waffle stomped with dragons next turn.
So yeah, it's the Shrine of the Dragon Lord. Is there a Dragon Lord avatar?
There is a Dragon Lord avatar, which we spoke about.
That's the one
in a few other episodes ago.
That's the one that you did with that special release, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Dragon Lord avatar, basically you choose a dragon and then you pay 3 on your turn, and if you have the threshold that the dragon has that you've chosen, it gains that ability.
So outside of the mono air deck, every deck is fire. Is fire the best color in the game?
Fire is I think it's the best supplementary color in the game for sure, and certainly the most aggressive color in the game. But I don't think it's the best. I don't think there is a clear-cut best. I would say that water right now is probably the weakest, but the other 3 are right up there. And I think water is like a close second to the other 3 and first.
Is there a deck that's comprised entirely of unique?
Not really. You can get kind of close. There was a Elementalist deck that is unfortunately not listed, that from what I understand it's Elementalist good stuff. So Elementalist, basically just like the Shrine of the Dragon Lord, its only ability aside from tap to play a site or draw a site is that it produces one of each threshold, and that's what it does. So there was a deck that sort of played like multicolored good stuff, but I can't see the list yet because no one's posted the list to give a good idea of what that deck really looks like. So my hope is that eventually we'll get a good look at that list. But I wanted, with only a couple days out until Houston, I wanted to go over these decks. So we talked about Death Speaker before. I don't want to go too far into Death Speaker. Let's see what else is on the list. Then we've got Druid, mono fire Druid, Phil. Just all aggro here. All right, you're looking at Manticore, Saracen Raiders, Monstrous Lion, Boudica.
Given these results, before when we were talking about how you were like, yeah, Archimago is probably the best deck or the best avatar. All we've seen the last couple of episodes is all you've been showing me is how Druid is crushing.
Yeah, well, Druid is quickly becoming the dominating deck. I think people have kind of figured out. It's been about a year and a half since Arthurian Legend, maybe a year and 3 months since Arthurian Legends has come out. And initially, I think Archimago was the go-to thing to do. And you're also seeing a bifurcation of the European results and the American results. European results had 2 Archies in the top 8. The American, a lot of Druid represented here. In fact, we have 4 Druid in the top 8.
And I'm thinking Druid is pretty reminiscent of well, it's not Kogo because it's not a control deck, but just being able to put a flyer, anywhere on the table, and then just suit it up. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, this is this one's called Big Springs Druid. This was the 7th, 5th through 7th place, and this is sort of like a bigger, more mid-range Steam Druid deck.
Yeah, seeing a lot of heavy threshold. Talk to me about Sir Mordred.
Sir Mordred's really, really great. So between the Genesis and Deathrite to kill target adjacent minion, you can do a lot with Sir Mordred. Basically, like, this card's probably gonna trade for 3 cards, right? You're gonna play him.
Sorry, guys.
You're gonna play him, attack into something, probably trade, and then kill something else. If you're setting it up right.
Tell me about Zeraphine Condrel.
Yeah, this is another dragon, Conrul. This is another dragon. I love this dragon. This is one of my favorite dragons because for 7 mana, 2 red, 2 blue threshold, 2 fire, 2 water threshold, you get a 5 power guy. But at the end of your turn, so immediately getting the value out of this card, you may choose 3 of your dead minions, banish 2 of them, and return the remaining 1 to your hand. So in a deck like this, it's not, trying to get more value out of its graveyard. You're just able to rebuy your big minions, get another Storm Murdred, trade for 3 more cards, right? Get a Questing Beast, get a Panorama Manticore, and you have enough little guys that you can trade these little guys for something big.
What is Boudica?
Boudica is...
Oh, right, that's Boudica. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
The +3 allies have +3 power, which is great with your Plague of Frogs.
I'm still at the stage of recognizing the cards based on their art and not their names.
Yeah. The cards that we haven't seen here are Heloc Basilisk, 4 mana for a 3 power beast. Other minions at rest here or 1 step in front are disabled. Okay.
What does that rest here mean?
Untapped. Yeah. We got the clone, the self-same simulacrum. Yeah, I mean, mostly this is just good stuff mid-range deck.
What's Panorama Manticore?
Panorama Manticore is a 5 lethal airborne for 5 with 2 fire threshold. And at the end of your turn, if you cast a non-fire spell, untap Panorama Manticore. It is fun to say Panorama Manticore. I feel like if you did a rap for this game, Panorama Manticore would be a card that you save very fast.
So Panorama Manticore is also, by untapping it means that it gets to block.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. It's at the end of your turn, so unfortunately you don't just get to do it and keep attacking and then untap it and keep attacking. But yeah,
because theoretically, you don't have. It's not like there's one combat. If you were to untap your,
you can just keep. It's like Hearthstone. You just keep attacking.
Yeah.
Because that's how Screaming Skull and Battle Mage work. We'll do a Battle Mage episode eventually. Okay, so let's talk about some of the spells, because I think that really makes the difference in the deck. So like Font of Life, each ally gains an amount equal to the number of sites in its body of water. We explained body of water before, so you can heal an amount of life equal to the number of sites on your body of water.
So tell me about allies healing, because I thought damage does not stay.
It doesn't, but you could attack, take like 3 damage on a guy, right? And then maybe, I don't know, cast a spell that does like 4 damage or something like that, and then it lives, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Font of Life, not just you, but all of your allies that are in the body of water.
Because this is a 3 of Font of Life deck, so I don't know where I'm not sure. I don't necessarily see where the combo shenanigans come along with this.
There's no combo. This is mid-range. You're gaining life to stay in the game against the earlier aggro decks.
Oh, so I guess that by you say healing each ally, by healing your avatar, that's just gaining life.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Polymorph, transform a nearby minion into a frog, a classic removal spell, right?
That turns it to an 0/1?
1. Yep, not even 0/1. An 0.
Oh, yeah.
Any damage. Infiltrate, gain control of target minion until it deals damage. Tap it, it gains stealth. Pact of the Devil, of course, and Lava Flow. Lava Flow does 5 where you're at, 4 next to you, and 2 away from you. Just a classic way to remove, and it's everything that's at that site. So it's a classic way to like end the game. Same thing with Minor Explosion. It'll deal 3 damage to every unit atop of a location 2 steps away. This is very mid-range. And then finally we have that the Elementalist that we don't have a list for. But Phil, I think while I'm here, let me pop back over. So Phil, it looks like it's just very mid-range right now. So I think that puts me as a mid-range deck that's doing stuff that's like kind of value-based in Enchantress in sort of a different spot. And maybe I have a better chance than I think I do at this event. I have high hopes for this event, but I'm being realistic. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and I'm going to be one of those players that's like, is this a legal maneuver? Can I do this?
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be an experience.
You'll be calling over the judge early and often.
Yeah, I hope I'm not the only one doing that. But
I think the game is still very new. I think that there will be a lot of that. There will be some of that with me. There are some things I just don't know that I'll be like, hold on, But I think looking at this, if this is any indication of what we're likely to see in Baltimore in a couple of days, very mid-range. I'm interested to see if we trend toward, where the trend toward from control to mid-range to aggro becomes a thing. If we see a bunch of aggro decks at Baltimore, I mean, remember back in the day, it used to be like you had to think about who would be smart and choose the deck that would beat the decks in the metagame in each event back in like SEG standard days, right? If an aggro deck won, then someone would be like, okay, I'm going to play a mid-range deck. But if you were smart, you played a control deck to beat all the mid-range decks because that was the obvious thing to go to. And then the control deck would win. It's weird. It kind of skips over. Like the winner generally would be the person who thought to skip over the metagame and could survive the early rounds against whatever won in the previous tournament. So it'll be interesting to see if that mirrors itself here.
Logistics-wise, for me as the noob, your sites and your spellbook are in different colored sleeves.
They should be. Yeah.
They should be in different colored sleeves.
They ought to be. Yeah.
Is there what are there avatars that are just like actually unplayable? Because
unplayable
of the ones that we've talked about, the only things that we've talked about winning are like Archie, Druid, Death Speaker showed up. You showed me Elementalist. You showed me Enchantress because that's what you play.
We've seen Pathfinder.
You've seen Pathfinder, Avatar of Era, but is there any like we did Dragon Speaker just
so Avatar of Fire is one that I think would be very hard to make work specifically because I think what it does is it turns sights into the card Fireball, and the card Fireball is like not that good. So there's Avatar of Fire. I think that Spark Mage also is a card that it has legs but doesn't really it doesn't have a build yet. It's got sort of like a Storm deck kind of synergy to it, where you're able to deal damage.
Maybe I need to be a combo bro in this game.
Yeah, you can try, but it's not there yet. Like the Flame Caller is sort of a fixed version of the Avatar of Air, and it allows you to tap him and then exile a number of I think it might just be creatures, but it might be cards in your cemetery, and deal damage equal to the number of pips, like fire pips, as a projectile. So you can end the game by being like, okay, I'm going to hit you for 12, with it. But it's kind of a one-time thing, a one-shot thing. So you really have to build into that deck. But Spellslinger, I wouldn't take a Spellslinger deck to an event. All that
There's an avatar called Spellslinger?
Yeah, that's the generic draft avatar that just allows you to start the game with 4 cards in your hand.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah, when you compare it to, say, Sorcerer, that just taps to draw a card. But that one
good. You can draw a card every turn. But you're saying Sorcerer does the same thing because it just starts by tapping to draw a card.
Sorcerer just once you're done placing your sights, especially if you're an aggressive deck, it just tap and draw a card, tap and draw a card, tap and draw a card every turn.
Yo, why aren't I playing that?
It's a great card, but it's more aggressive because you want to build out your realm so that you can cast those big spells. That's why there's not really a control deck for Sorcerer yet, because you still need the mana is sort of the issue. You might get to a point where you figure that out though, where you're like, okay, we're going to stay low to the ground and I'm going to draw cards and then I'm going to end much later. But with that said, this is the metagame for Houston. What do you think the metagame for, say it in the comments. What do you think the metagame for Baltimore be? Do you think it'll be more control based in the top 8? More aggro based, or do you think it's going to be right down the center with mid-range again? Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you on the flip.